In a small village nestled beside a vast green forest, lived a curious boy named Kofi. More than anything, Kofi loved the forest. While the other children played games in the dusty village square, Kofi preferred to wander among the tall ancient trees, listening to the secrets whispered by the wind and watching the animals go about their day. One morning, a strange sound woke Kofi from his sleep. It was coming from just outside his hut. Chirp, chirp, hurry, hurry. He rubbed the sleep from his eyes and stepped outside into the cool morning air. On a branch just above him, two small birds were perched. One flapped its wings nervously. "The hunters are coming today," it chirped. The other bird gazed anxiously toward the forest. "Yes, they're bringing their traps again. The animals must hide." Kofi froze, his heart pounding in his chest. "Wait, did you just talk?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. The birds instantly stopped their chirping and stared down at him with their tiny black eyes. You heard us?" one of them asked, its voice filled with disbelief. Kofi nodded slowly. "Of course I heard you. You said the hunters are coming." The birds let out a collective gasp. No human has ever understood us before. Kofi blinked, his mind racing to make sense of it all. "So, I can hear animals." Just then, a goat that had been lazily chewing on some grass nearby let out a huff. "Finally, a human who actually listens," it grumbled in a deep, grumpy voice. "Maybe now someone will care about what happens in that forest." Kofi jumped back in surprise, his eyes wide. "You can talk too," he shouted, pointing at the goat. The goat rolled its annoyed eyes. "We've always talked. You humans just never hear us." Suddenly, a monkey swung down from a high tree branch, landing gracefully in front of Kofi. Boy, if you can really understand us, then you must help." The monkey chattered urgently. Kofi looked from the monkey to the goat, then to the birds. "Help with what?" he asked, his voice filled with a new sense of purpose. The monkey pointed a long finger toward the deep forest. "The hunters are setting traps everywhere. They are cruel and clever. Yesterday, they caught a deer. Tomorrow, they will catch more." Kofi's playful expression vanished, replaced by a look of serious determination. "I'll warn the village," he said, his voice firm. He turned and ran as fast as he could toward the village square, where the elders and farmers were gathered, preparing for the day's work. "Listen, everyone," Kofi shouted, panting as he reached them. "The hunters are setting traps all over the forest." The villagers stopped what they were doing and looked at him, their faces a mixture of confusion and amusement. "How do you know that, child?" one of the elders asked, a gentle but skeptical smile on his face. Kofi hesitated for a moment, knowing how strange it would sound. "The animals told me," he said quietly. The air, which had been still, was suddenly filled with the sound of laughter. The villagers chuckled and shook their heads. "Animals talking to you?" One farmer laughed. "Kofi, you have a wonderful imagination, but you must stop telling such silly stories." Kofi's shoulders slumped. "But it's true," he insisted, his voice small. The villagers simply turned back to their work, dismissing his warning as a childish fantasy. Feeling sad and dejected, Kofi turned away from the village and walked toward the one place he felt understood, the forest. As he walked deeper among the trees, the familiar sounds of the woods seemed to welcome him. Then he heard a faint, weak voice calling out, "Help, please, help me." Kofi followed the desperate sound, pushing past ferns and ducking under low branches. He soon found a young antelope, its leg caught tight in a rope snare. The poor creature struggled helplessly, its eyes wide with fear and pain. "It hurts. I can't escape," it cried. Kofi didn't hesitate. He knelt down beside the trapped animal and began working on the thick, tangled rope. "Don't worry," he said gently, his voice calm and reassuring. "I'll help you." His fingers worked quickly, pulling and loosening the knots. With one final strong pull, the rope snapped free. The young antelope struggled to its feet and shook its sore leg. "Thank you, Kofi. You saved my life," it said, nuzzling his hand in gratitude. Just then, other animals began to appear from behind the trees: birds, monkeys, rabbits, and even the old grumpy goat from the village. The monkey grinned at Kofi. "See, I told you he would help." The birds fluttered around Kofi's head, chirping happily. "You listened when no one else would. You are a true friend of the forest." A warm smile spread across Kofi's face. He looked at the grateful faces of the animals surrounding him. "I will protect you," he promised, and he meant it. From that day forward, Kofi used his special gift to keep the animals safe. He would listen to their warnings about traps, hunters, and other dangers, and then guide them to safety. Slowly, over time, the villagers began to notice a change. The hunters returned from the forest with their traps empty, day after day. The forest, instead of growing quieter, remained full of life and sound. The songs of the birds seemed louder, the chatter of the monkeys more joyful. One evening, as Kofi sat at the edge of the forest, the village elder approached him. The old man looked at Kofi and then toward the vibrant forest, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Perhaps animals really do speak, after all," he said softly. Kofi smiled, a wise and gentle smile that seemed beyond his years. "They always have," he replied. "We just need to learn how to listen." And from that day on, the boy who could hear animals became the guardian of the forest, a living reminder to his people that every voice, no matter how quiet or small, deserves to be heard.